Thank you. You know, before I begin, I want to say that, first of all, I want to apologize for needing assistance. But the people that I've heard talk all day, they are not outlaws, they are heroes. And they're heroes because they have the courage to live. And in this world, moral courage is so rare, so it is an honor to be here with them, although I am not as courageous as they are. I know surprisingly I'm talking about the law, but I do want to talk about the law, and specifically about equality under the law, because to me that's the purpose of America. And I want to start because I think any discussion about America should start with the Declaration of Independence. I think the Declaration of Independence states the American ideas of the rights of people and the reasons for government. And I also am going to talk about the preamble to the United States Constitution, because the preamble states the reasons for our government. Now, the Declaration of Independence says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed." These ideas from Jefferson were largely drawn from Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan and John Locke's Treatises of Government. According to Hobbes, man originally lived in a state of nature, and in a state of nature, we were all free to do anything and have everything. The problem is, in a state of nature, there's no such thing as justice or unjustness. And man lived in a continuous sense of fear and danger from other people who thought their rights to do anything and have everything were superior to us. Because of this, and to free ourselves from this continuous fear and danger, we join society. Hobbes took that one step further. And what he wrote is that man originally lived in a state of nature. Well, excuse me, what I meant is Locke. He continued in the inquiry of the nature of government. He said, "To properly understand political power and trace its origins, we must consider the state that all people are in naturally. This is a state of perfect freedom, acting and disposing of our persons and possessions as we think fit, without any bounds of the law or other people. We don't need to ask for permission for anything. Unfortunately, just as Hobbes said, this freedom, the ability to enjoy this freedom, is uncertain, because we're constantly exposed to the risk of invasion by others, and our enjoyment of property is always in danger. Therefore, once again, as Hobbes said, we join society to protect ourselves from other people." And that's important because we pass laws not to constrain ourselves per se, but to protect our freedoms, and we often forget that. What we also often forget is what freedom is supposed to mean. Freedom is not the power to do what everyone wants whenever they want it without any constraints, even in a natural state. The natural man, as Hobbes said, or if you want to go even further back, Rousseau, even in a natural state, man was constrained by the laws of nature and by every other person that they came in contact with who thought their rights were greater or stronger than theirs. So we were never free. Freedom is not unrestrained freedom or license. In society, we are constrained by laws. The United States was created by the Constitution of the United States. That is our first set of laws, and it is the law from which all our laws derive. The preamble, as I said, to me, is the reason for the formation of the government. And the preamble to the United States Constitution says, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity, do ordain and established this Constitution for the United States of America. It is worth noting to me that the first goal, the first reason for the formation of our country was to commit us to each other. We actually had a civil war over that idea, but it was the first goal of the Constitution. The second was to establish justice. To establish justice is properly the second goal of our country because, as Frederick Douglass said, where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where any one class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither persons nor property will be safe. Therefore, without justice, domestic tranquility, our common defense, the general welfare, and the blessings of liberty will always be at risk. One needs only to look at what's currently going on in our country to see that this is true. So what is justice? Justice is when the law protects and restrains all people equally. It is when all people have equal rights and equal speech. It is when government serves all of the people. The problem we have faced and still face in America is that from the moment the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution were written, we have worked to narrow the definition of all men. All men became not all people, but literally only men. And then it became only men that were white and owned property. We, the people, became similarly narrowly construed. As a result, women had no rights, African Americans had no rights, Native Americans had no rights. The list of people excluded from the American dream goes on and on. A nation conceived in equality and justice became a nation of neither, because you cannot have justice unless you have equality under the law. But the ideas expressed in those two documents have kept us moving toward equality and toward justice. It is said that life is an aspiration. It is a desire to be. America is an aspiration also. It is an aspiration of a government by the people for the people. It is an aspiration of equality and freedom restricted only by nature and the law, which treats all people equally. It is an aspiration to be a nation where wealth, gender, race, religion, and all other various differences, while essential to that person's definition of who they are, is an observation rather than a reason to deprive them of the liberties and freedoms that we cherish so dearly for ourselves. Henry David Thoreau said, "If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put a foundation under them." That is what we must do. The promise of America is like a castle in the air. Let us work to put a foundation under it. This is not an easy task. Equal justice before the law requires both tolerance and courage. Tolerance for when you are in the majority, and courage for when you're in the minority. There is a Chinese proverb that says, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Neither can a great country or a great community." Our trial is the greatest one on earth, freedom and equality. So let us commit ourselves to tolerance, to courage, and enduring faith in the promise of America. For it is tolerance, courage, and enduring faith that we can create a just world that the world needs. Let us make that gift to the world. Thank you.